Ladies and gentlemen, presidential candidate, the former president, Donald J. Trump, has had a massive week. He has been, let's be honest, I don't care what side of the fence you are on politically, he's been absolutely killing it. From a massive Joe Rogan podcast with 40 million views as of recording this video, round about 40 million, which is absolutely insane, considering it goes for 3 hours. I know that, Mr. Beast gets massive views, hundreds of millions of views, but for 3 hours, people have sat there and listened to this. This is not even including Spotify views, which is more than YouTube, which is absolutely crazy. We're talking huge numbers here. That podcast right there could very well have won the presidential race for Donald Trump. And Kamala Harris not going on the show could have sunk her race entirely, even though she probably should lose anyway. And then on top of that, Trump goes and sells out Madison Square Garden, an enormous event so synonymous with New York, and there was people out the front lined up for absolutely ages. So it was an enormous event. There were amazing people there, like the legendary Dana White, CEO of the UFC and the owner of Howler Head Whiskey. Amazing sponsor of my tour that's happening right now. I'm playing all over Australia. And the mean, lean machine himself, Dr. Phil, he was there as well, amongst others, like Hulk Hogan, which was, he's fucking hilarious. I love watching that. I don't know why. It's just fucking outrageous. Trump's ahead in the polls, it seems. Trump's ahead on social media, it seems. It seems that he's ahead in the betting markets as well. But something has happened that I think very well could disrupt or derail his run for the White House. And that is, this man, Tony Hinchcliffe, happened. I will say this. I've met Hinchcliffe before. He is a lovely dude. And you better fucking believe I'm going to defend everything he said. It's obvious the Democrats need to spin as much shit this week as they possibly can in their favor to go against Trump, because Trump's been killing it this week. He really has. In the week before the election, he's been killing it. They have to do something, and that's why when Hinchcliffe got on stage at Trump's rally in New York, they licked their lips. They saw finally something they could have a crack at. Whether it's warranted or not, it screams of desperation. Does it not? Now, you may know Tony Hinchcliffe from Joe Rogan's podcast, Kill Tony, one of the biggest live podcasts in the world. And, of course, from the Tom Brady roast that you may have seen on Netflix. And now you may know him because the entire left wing of the world wants him fucking cancelled. They want him hung, drawn, and quartered. Because he said this.
Believe it or not, people, I welcome migrants to the United States of America with open arms. And by open arms, I mean like this. There's a lot going on. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. So many great athletes. I don't know about you guys, but I think that Travis Kelce might be the next O.J. Simpson. The other side's got a lot of crazy endorsements. Swift, Eminem, Leo DiCaprio, Beyonce. Every day the Democratic Party looks more and more like a P. Diddy party. Cool black guy with a thing on his head. What the hell is that, a lampshade? Look at this guy. Oh my goodness. Wow. I'm just kidding. That's one of my buddies. He had a Halloween party last night. We had fun. We carved watermelons together. It was awesome. Let me remind you, Hillary, it was your husband who shot innocent people, or as he called them, interns.
That is Tony Hinchcliffe. He is a comedian known for pushing the boundaries, for insulting people, roasting people, saying mean things, and saying very, very funny things. There is a reason he is so successful, and that is because he is very, very fucking funny. I very much believe that comedians should never be cancelled, full stop. But when they're trying to be humorous, and I think he was being very humorous in this particular circumstance, I don't think they should ever be cancelled. But that is the world we live in. Now, comedians like myself or Hinchcliffe or many others, they rely on people cancelling them to sell more tickets. And Tony will benefit from this. Make no mistake. He's going to get a bit of heat for a couple of days, but who gives a fuck after that? I hope that he just bounces back, and I know he will. He's been around for long enough to know this. He will bounce back. He'll be bigger than ever, and fucking good on him. Now, should you do quite offensive jokes at a political rally? Don't know. Would I do it? Probably. So fucking, that just cements my point. Good fucking on you, Tony. So many people were mad about this. Like, just take a look at this, for example.
The Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden featured Tony Hinchcliffe calling Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage.
As jokes. Not saying that Puerto Rico is actually a mountain of garbage or an island of garbage, or not actually saying that, hey, he doesn't like black people for X, Y, Z reason, and, he's using an unfair stereotype about watermelons. No, he's just making jokes. They're not real. He's pretending.
Some pretty gross things about Latino.
Fucking shut up, Phil DeFranco.
He also referred to Travis Kelce as the next O.J. Simpson, seemingly joking that he was going to kill Taylor Swift.
Yeah, or he was perhaps, and let's use some skills here, some critical thinking skills. Perhaps he was just saying that Travis Kelce was going to be a really good footballer. Or maybe he was alluding to the... This is what happens when you look into jokes. Just listen to it and laugh and get over it. Nothing happens. Nothing changes. Shut up.
Then called Jews cheap and Palestinians rock throwers.
Who cares?
And so the Trump campaign has said that his remarks don't represent Trump's views, but...
Of course they don't represent Trump's views, you fucking idiot. They represent Tony's jokes, and that's it.
Also, you have people saying, why hasn't Trump come out himself to say that as well?
Why does Trump need to come out and say, Puerto Rico is beautiful, I love it? He doesn't need to do it. He's a comic. Who gives a shit? This is fuck off. Fuck off.
Someone this platform, and they said racist stuff that offended a lot of people. Wouldn't you denounce it personally?
Is it a racist joke, or is it a joke about a certain race? Racism is hatred. I don't think Tony's full of hate there. I think he's just being a dick. Who cares?
Payne also said they didn't vet Tony, but they still loaded his remarks into the teleprompter, so they seemingly knew what he was going to say. And this is former Trump advisor Peter Navarro called Tony the biggest, stupidest asshole that ever came down the comedy pipe.
Which is actually a really good quote to throw on a poster. I wish I could do that.
Also former Trump advisor Anthony Scaramucci saying my reaction was that it was a combination of 1933 Germany, 1939 Madison Square Garden last night.
Yeah, right, dickhead. That sounds like a fucking outrageous thing to say, particularly if you were a Jewish person who had family members die in the Holocaust, or you had anyone who lived in Eastern Europe during that time, or lived in Europe in general, or maybe even lived in America, who fought in World War II. Fuck you. That's crazy. We're talking about a fucking comedian who looks Jewish. I don't know if he is Jewish, but sure, why not?
With also comedians coming out of the woodwork left and right to know that they think Hinchcliffe is just a bad comedian. Now that said, Hinchcliffe has defended himself.
Is there comedians coming out left and right? Of course there is, because no one hates comedians more than other comedians. And yes, Tony came out and defended himself, but fucking deal with it, pussies. My God, we are a weak fucking bunch. Can you believe that? Can you believe that people are so upset about this with all the other problems in the world? This is from Kamala's Twitter HQ page, which is just a great page to follow, may I say. Trump rally speaker, there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico. And people in the comment section, I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. I can't believe he said that. He's a fucking, Jesus Christ, he's a fucking comedian, you fucking sooks. People can't find enough money to buy groceries. There's wars going on, children being fucking exploded. And this is the shit that we're worried about? Really? Fucking really? This is the type of shit that the current commander-in-chief, let's be honest, Joe Biden's not running the country over there. This is what the current commander-in-chief is worried about. Shit from fucking Hinchcliffe, who's just telling jokes. The media's running with it as well. All of these articles, article after article after article, only focusing on the fact that Tony Hinchcliffe, a comedian that often makes offensive jokes, made an offensive joke. Oh my God. This is my favourite from Rolling Stone and Mark Maron. Not funny. Okay, mate, whatever you fucking reckon.
It's worth noting that while we showed you that joke about the pile of garbage that comedian made, he also said something else about Latino voters that I can't play because I know a lot of you are probably at the breakfast table with your little kids, and if we played it, you'd have to shut us off because it was so incredibly crude that it's a family program and we're just not going to do it.
It really wasn't that bad. And to go even further, here's AOC, everyone's favourite fucking politician, and Waltz, old Timmy Waltz, or Tampon Tim, as he's referred to by everyone who has a sense of humour because he tried to put tampons in men's bathrooms, or I think he did actually do that. Here they are reacting to it.
Who is that jackwad? Who is that guy?
Actually, I think that's Tony Hinchcliffe, which is super disappointing.
People in Puerto Rico are citizens. They pay taxes and they serve in the military at almost a higher rate than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's like super upsetting. Obviously, it's super upsetting to me. My family is from Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican.
Who the fuck cares? He is joking. Deal with it. As I said, Tony Hinchcliffe will be absolutely fine from this, and good fucking on him. I wish him all the very best of luck. Not that he needs it, because he sold out Madison Square Garden twice not too long ago. So I'm sure Tony will be fine. But all of this and the reaction from the media wasn't the most outrageous thing that happened from Trump's appearance at Madison Square Garden. It was this from MSNBC.
But that jamboree happening right now, you see it there on your screen, in that place is particularly chilling because in 1939, more than 20,000 supporters of a different fascist leader, Adolf Hitler, packed the garden for a so-called pro-America rally.
Trump's MSG, Madison Square Garden, rally comes 85 years after pro-N-word rally at famed arena. And it came 800 years after Genghis Khan killed a heap of people. What else happened? What else can you relate to Trump? Do not trust the outrage, ladies and gentlemen. It is all manufactured and it's all just to scare you. There are much more important things to worry about, and that's why I'm a Trump guy at the moment. Who knows what the fuck he's going to do? All right. I know a lot of people are bagging me on the internet about being a Trump guy, but I think if America, and we have to, even though I'm Australian and I'm not voting for anyone, obviously, because I'm in this fucking country, even if I have nothing to do with the voting and nothing to do with the country, we have to understand that America plays a big role in what happens in Australia and the world. They are the fucking daddies of the world, whether we like it or not. And I think if we're going to be skirting around things like World War III, it's much better to have Donald Trump in charge and dealing with that shit than some fucking other possible candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Me dick stinks. Toodaloo au revoir. Bye-bye.